welcome to yet another video from ipsr. Today we're going to present a difference between Linux and Windows. As we all know, all the differences cannot be compiled in just a single PPT presentation. Now, I know that's not enough, but let's see a few of them. Starting with Linux. It's not a complete OS, as we all know. It's just a kernel. We have distributions for Linux. Linux kernel plus a free software gives us distributions like Fedora, Ubuntu, SUSE Linux, Red Hat, Debian, etc. I don't think somebody is not familiar with any one of them at least. Alright. The first and the foremost difference between the both of them, that is in terms of access. Having access to the source code is the number one difference which we can say when we start a debate between Linux and Windows. The fact that Linux belongs to the GNU public license ensures that users of all types can access the code, can alter the code to the very kernel that serves as the foundation of the Linux operating system. Do you want to take a look at the Windows code? Or please forget the plan, because only those people who are creating the Windows code can get an access to the Windows code, and nobody else in the planet can get access to that. With access comes the difference in the licensing policies. You know that with a single Linux distribution, we can do many number of installations. In many systems, no wonder that is until the CD gets broken or the drive gets destroyed, you can do the installation again and again. But in Windows, the number of licenses are limited because that is for a single license there is a limited number of installation. Nowadays there are coming that is there are Windows operating system that has a single license, and almost 5 to 10 installations can be done with a single license. That's possible nowadays. Alright, moving on to the ground level, that is where the operating system boots into once the system starts. In Linux there are several run levels to boot into. Halt, shutdown, power off, and things like that. There are many of them. Single user mode, graphical mode, multi-user mode, everything is available. Whereas in Windows there are very few run levels to the rescue actually. Then comes the command line interface. Linux system without a command line is unimaginable, we must say, because it's an invaluable tool for communication in Linux. Whereas in Windows, once we get the run, we run the command, that is cmd. Only then the command line interface pops up. Until then it is completely unknown and hidden from the user. Then comes the next one, that is the application installation. In Linux, package management tools like Synaptic can be used. That is, we install some packages from a repository. There is a repository available for Linux operating system. In all sorts of Linux operators, all the Linux distros, we get a repository. We can add repositories as we want, and just using a single command. For example, in rel 7 we use yum install space the name of the package so that we can install the package. Then in Windows, you need to find the software and then you need to run it. The sentence or the phrase explains it all, because what we can do is we search in a search box, we just type in the name of the application we need to install, and as such the application is not installed. We need to go on, we have to download the link, and it's very prone to viruses, as we'll be discussing it after some time. Yeah, that is all what we can say about application installation. Then comes the next difference, that is the difference between automated versus non-automated removable media. In Linux, once we plug in a USB or a CD-ROM or whatever it is, we need to mount it before we can use it. This is not an extra job, that is, it's not a time-consuming or a hectic job if we know the purpose or the very purpose of why we are doing such a mounting in a Linux machine, because multiple users are using Linux machine. Linux is a multi-user system, and when multiple users are accessing the same USB or a CD-ROM, there is a chance that tampering of data or alternation of data can happen. Just to prevent this and to increase the privacy, we mount the removable media before using it. Now see the advantage in which you are using or mounting a USB drive. We can see the advantage, right? Alright, in Windows there are no such mountings that is required. We just plug in and then we just use it as we like it. That's all, and it provides very least privacy. All right, this makes each person dumbstruck. These few of the images which I am going to show you right now. United States Department of Defense, as we all know, is the biggest install base for Red Hat Linux, we must say. All right. Then comes the next one. US Navy nuclear submarine fleet uses newer Linux. All right. That's another news. Then comes another great news, that is New York Stock Exchange, which uses Linux. Can we see some of the companies which are using Linux right now? We'll see them. German Foreign Office is one of them, which was using Debian, which is a distro of Linux since 2005, I must say. Alright, now look at this. Some examples of companies using Linux. Google, IBM, who doesn't know London Stock Exchange? McDonald's, Wikipedia, the greatest free encyclopedia. It uses Linux, it seems. Amazon, New York Stock Exchange, and etc. uses Linux. That makes Linux proud. And I'm proud as an open source guy, I must say. Alright. Then comes Linux in real life. How many of you knew that most of the government offices used Linux in their systems? Here are the reasons why. Benefits of free OS, expenses less, both alternate to or converge to the same meaning. Then comes nothing as unresponsiveness. See, when you open, I can explain that point. When you open a window in a Linux machine, that is when you open multiple windows, even if one goes down or even if one stops working, the all of the other ones starts working as it is. That is, there is no difference in the working that happens in the rest of the windows. That is why Linux can be used without restarting, or the machine can be up without restarting for a huge amount of time. That we must say up to nearly, yeah, I can't say the limit, but for a long time we can use the system without any restart or something like that. Then Linux is less prone to viruses. That is a different thing, because viruses are created. They don't happen. They're just created, like by virus creators, I must say. And Windows is more popular than Linux in today's life, and that is why Windows has more number of viruses that is detected in Windows and very less in Linux. Yeah, let's see. Let's give it time. We can see virus creators coming up with viruses in the nearest future, because the next 25 years or so is the future of Linux, I must say. Yeah, I can proudly say that. All right, now with that we are going to give an end to this. Was just a very less explanation about the differences, and for further videos you must tune in to ipsr Solutions Limited, and videos which we are providing you just to give you basic information of what are the changes that is happening in the open source life. All right, with that we are winding up. Thank you.